They just keep coming out with this shit. The writers on this stuff are pretty funny. The irony is just great. I don't know where they come up with this stuff. Should protesters be charged as terrorists? Mox News here. Let's put this up. It's a quick one. And basically it's saying that because protesters block roadways and cause all this economic terrorism, as he calls it, they should be charged because it's causing like problems to society on a daily basis. It's so funny that that is considered to be economic terrorism, but all these things that the banking cabal do, no, that's not economic terrorism. This world is so twisted, right?
Is now speaking out about his proposed bill that would allow the prosecution of protesters who engage in what he calls economic terrorism. Kamos Karakosinic just spoke with Senator Doug Ericksen.
Like, give me a break. Economic terrorism? Like, we couldn't use that term to describe any other people in this country that do basically that, economic terrorism. But college kids that are just fucking out in the street, disappointed, rioting for whatever reason, not rioting, protesting, because they cause disarray in the economic system. It's terrorism. It pisses me off when like it's not a problem until rioting leads to like theft and stealing. Like, oh my god. It just shows you the countries are here for the corporations, not the people. They could give a crap. Once the corporations start losing money and people are taking TVs out of Walmart, oh no, we can't have that. But Walmart can make American citizens pay the health insurance for their employees. Like, that's not economic terrorism? I think that is. That's economic terrorism. A couple guys are late to work because these guys are in the street. I think a company can take a hit like that. Like, give me a break. Give these kids more money. Maybe they won't be out in the streets. Give them less. Make the wages more and make the prices less. And stop deceiving people. Maybe they won't be in the streets.
Ericksen and joins us live with more. Kara?
And Mary, we spent the day trying to track the senator down, and we finally connected right here in Mount Vernon. He tells me he's been working on this legislation for months, but wanted to wait until after the election to roll it out to the public.
Yep, makes sense.
Nothing in this bill infringes anybody's right to protest.
Republican State Senator Doug Ericksen, who served as the deputy director for the Trump campaign in Washington, is proposing a bill in our state legislature that would criminalize protest.
Well, this legislation is aimed at creating a Class C felony for people who commit acts of economic terrorism which harm other people.
Oh my gosh. Like, could I name like about, I don't know, 1 million acts of economic terrorism that people have committed on other people in this country? Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I could make a whole nother channel just on that. What the fuck is this guy talking about? Like, what is this guy honestly saying? Let's just hear that again. I could not believe what he just said.
Which harm other people.
Ericksen says
Which harm other people. Terrorism, which harm other people. Economic terrorism, which harm other people. Economic terrorism, which harm other people.
Like what? The banking cabal that controls our whole fucking reality? Like that economic style terrorism?
Aimed at creating a Class C felony for people who commit acts of economic terrorism which harm other people.
Right. Like the bailout that didn't harm U.S. citizens? That wasn't economic terrorism? 2008 banking crisis bailout? That harmed a lot of people. There's still effects of that. The prices, the rising of prices. It's a that was a economic terrorist act. You fucking clown. Like, wise the fuck up. Do I have to make videos? Who the fuck is this guy? Do I have to make videos? How clueless are you, dude? How fucking clueless are you? Economic terrorism? Like, is this guy serious? Economic terrorist. How about all the fucking money you receive from lobbyists? That's not economic terrorism?
Legislation is aimed at creating a Class C felony for people who commit acts of economic terrorism which harm other people.
Yeah, you probably harm other people with the bills you pass and the laws you pass. Basically, with money. This is going to harm people. This is going to be an act of economic terrorism on somebody for just protesting. They're going to have to pay bills. They might have to go to jail. They might have to pay fines. So that's an economic act of terrorism. Because fines really aren't based. Fines should be based on how much income you make. So that when somebody who makes a lot of money is charged with a fine, it's relative to how much they make. So they can't just pay $100,000, which is basically pocket change to them, for a fine. What the hell is that? Or a speeding ticket or anything. Fines for people that are protesting, that's economic terrorism for them. Because they can't afford to pay it, and all they were doing was speaking out against something that they don't agree with. What? Because so a train doesn't get to go down here? That's economic terrorism? Like, give me a break, dude. Economic terrorism is U.S. citizens bailing a bank out, bailing bankers out, and that's still that we never like stop doing that. It's just fucking ongoing bullshit.
Ericksen says the bill would allow prosecution of people involved in protests that block transportation and commerce, threaten jobs, and put public safety at risk. There is both.
Right. So should corporations be held accountable when they do all those things? Threaten jobs? No, they're not. So what these laws are for what? The little people that are just doing what? Protesting against something that they don't agree with? Wow. So now they're going to be fined? How many more piece of shit laws can we come up with?
Support and opposition behind the bill.
We're going to be very active in the community, spreading the word that civil liberties still matter now more than ever.
Washington State Democrats released this statement that says in part, Ericksen's plan to crack down on our First Amendment rights is straight out of the Trump playbook and has no place in America. We already have laws protecting people's lives and property. Ericksen says his bill also would apply to people who fund and organize such protests.
And so I think it's important that we have clear laws in place to say protesting, great, we respect that, but when you harm another person, that's not allowable in Washington State.
Right, economic harm to another person shouldn't be allowed in the country, period. But does it happen every day? Yes. There's people committing acts of economic terrorism every fucking second. Look at this smirky fucking bitch. Like, give me a break with this economic acts of terrorism.
And the bill will get a hearing in January when lawmakers return to our legislature in Olympia. Live in Mount Vernon tonight, I'm Kara Kostanich, Como News.
Thank you, Kara.